Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the weekend in 25th of October 2025. Charles pays a visit to the Pope to pray. Paris not so gay, with Sarkozy locked away for a 5-year stay in La Sante. And thieves take crown jewels away. Plaid Cymru blow Labour away. Andrew may have a price to pay with the release of a book by Ms Guiffre. Trump's opinion sways and the summit's put off to another day. A huge manhunt now underway to find Kebatu, who has gone astray. And, by the way, a migrant who was sent away is now back in the UK. Two big shocks in a shocking week for France, sacre bleu, with a huge heist and an ex-president now doing stir. The heist wasn't a surgical thrust in the dead of night, it was about as subtle as dynamite. The Louvre was open but security not tight when the public got an eyeful of quite a sight. Two men dressed as builders in broad daylight got a furniture lift set at just the right height to enter a first floor window and give a right fright to security guards who put up little fight. The thieves grabbed some crown jewels and then took flight, a show of brazen might, but not morally right. At least no one got hurt at the end of the day, and the suspects, it seems, have not got away, as 3 men were arrested on Saturday. As for the whereabouts of the jewels, who can say? Then France was hit by another blow like a hammer, as a former president was sent to the slammer. On Tuesday, Sarkozy faced up to his fate and kissed his wife au revoir at the prison gate. Once he had 5 years as the country's president, now it's 5 years as a La Sante jail resident. So Nick's in the nick, though he still says he should not, 'cause the allegations are false that claim that he got election campaign funds from an illicit plot that extracted cash from Gaddafi, the late Syrian despot. This week Trump's flip-flopping went into overdrive. Putin's hopes correspondingly thrived, then nosedived. Last week Trump had adopted Putin's agenda and told Zelensky he must surrender. He had said that Hungary would be the venue for a summit with a ceasefire top of the menu. Then another U-turn announced by Trump himself. The Budapest talks had been indefinitely shelved. Trump figured that while Putin keeps committing war crimes, any peace talks are a complete waste of time. The total of small boat crossings continue to soar. This year's higher than all of 2024. The one-in, one-out scheme to stop the boat rides has had some effect, but hardly touches the sides. To be fair, the migrant exchange system with France hasn't yet been given a real fighting chance, and a mild autumn has kept the channel calmer, which makes for choppy waters for Keir Starmer. But with 42 sent back to France from the UK and just 23 coming back the opposite way, it may be while the cynics sneer and smirk, there's a small chance that the scheme might just work. But then things suddenly went from okie dokie to something more akin to the hokey cokey. In, out, do the hokey cokey and turn around and head back to a dinghy that's UK bound. Last weekend a migrant who'd been deported to France did the hokey cokey, turned around and took a chance. and leading our border force a merry dance, returned here, having not given France a second glance. Then on Friday, an even more gobsmacking tale of a sex pest who by mistake was set free from jail. Hadush Kebatu's story we all now know well. From a foreign hell to an Epping migrant hotel, he abused a local girl and wound up in a cell, which caused the natives to get restless and hard to quell. But then on Friday, so it's been reported, he was on a list to be deported, but then in a quite unbelievable twist he found that he'd been entered on the wrong list, the list that said we're giving you your freedom, and so he was set free despite all his pleading. An eyewitness claimed he had asked to be detained to tried to explain, but was directed to the train, and so reluctantly he went on his way, and now a nationwide manhunt is underway. On Wednesday the Commons got very fiery as questions were asked about the grooming inquiry. Announced in June, it's not yet got off the ground because a suitable panel has not yet been found, and now 4 victims who had been selected wanted other members ejected, and so have elected to resign from the panel because they've assessed the personnel and process won't achieve success. On Thursday our King met up with the Pope to pray. 500 years since the Vatican's seen such a day. A welcome distraction for Charles and the royals after weeks of Prince Andrew's turmoil and toils. And his bro on the throne is about to have him thrown out of the royal lodge to live all alone. And on Wednesday came a book to give him more strife, penned by Virginia before she took her own life. A final blow from Ms Guiffre from the grave, describing how Epstein's gruesome gang misbehaved. White privileged rich men, middle-aged and depraved. Even Charles' Vatican prayers can't have Andy saved. The Labour ratings plunge is now getting silly after Friday's capitulation in Caerphilly. No need to look at Caerphilly too carefully to see that Labour lost the by-election heavily. Plaid trounced them in a town and a nation that's had a century of Labour domination. And another portent of doom for Sir Keir, as he's now forced to keep an enemy very near. On Saturday he would have been forgiven for crying foul or giving out a howl to throw in the towel when he learnt Labour's new deputy is Lucy Powell.